So, I think I just found my new EDC lens for the Fuji XM5. Let's talk about it. What is going on, good people? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well out there. And you heard me correctly. I think I just found my new go-to EDC lens for the Fuji XM5. This is the Viltrox 28mm f4.5 lens, and it is by far the most compact lens I have ever used on the Fuji XM5 or the Fuji X-T50 for that matter. And get this, it has autofocus. Now, full disclosure, I actually have used this lens before. I did purchase it for the A7C II, but that is the full frame version. So that is a true 28mm focal length. Whereas with the APS-C version for my Fuji XM5, the 28mm comes out to more along the lines of a 41.5, 42mm full frame equivalent. Viltrox was kind enough to send out this Fuji X-mount version for me to test. No money changed hands, but they did let me keep the lens. And I'm glad they did, because I think this could become my new EDC lens. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, what about the Fuji 27mm? What about the TT Artisan 27mm? Those are really good lenses, don't get me wrong, but they are not this compact. Now, you might be saying, didn't I just do the Pergear 25mm? Yes, that is a nice compact lens, but it does not have autofocus. And so with this new Viltrox lens, it kind of combines the best of both worlds. It is the most compact lens I've ever used, and it has autofocus, and at the low price of $99 at the time of this recording. Now, some of y'all might be thinking, Bray Gray, this lens sounds intriguing, but what's the catch? Well, two things. One, it is a f4.5 aperture, and that is not variable. If you're out doing street photography, you're not gonna be able to stop up to f5.6, f8, f11. Using that exposure triangle, adjusting aperture is not an option. You're gonna have to strictly rely on adjusting ISO, adjusting shutter speed, or using an ND filter. Which brings me to my second point. This lens does not have any filter threads, but I have a solution. A filmmaker and another YouTuber by the name of Alt-Cine actually did create a 3D print file of an attachment for this lens so that you can put it on, put in a step-up ring, and then screw on ND filters. And so that's just what I did. Once I printed it, I put in a step-up ring. I believe it goes from 52mm to 67mm. So I was able to attach 67mm ND filters onto this lens. And it seems like it works pretty well. But with that said, for this Viltrox 28mm, let's stop talking about it. Let's go be about it. Let's go shoot. All right, y'all, we are in beautiful Normal Heights. About to go to a photographer's meetup. I got with me the Fuji XM5 right now and the 28mm f4.5 from Viltrox. So we're gonna see how it does for photo and for video. And we're gonna see how it works out. Let's see what we can do. All right, y'all, we back. And I have some thoughts on this Viltrox 28mm f4.5, especially pairing it with the Fuji X-M5, because the main benefit of this lens is that it is so small, it is so compact, it is so lightweight, it is so thin, and pairing it with a camera as small as the Fuji X-M5, it basically weighs nothing. This is just so easy to wield for street photography. As I was going on the photo walk, it was just easy for me to just bring the camera up, get different orientations, both landscape, portrait. It was just so easy just to get the snaps that I wanted. And even just comparing the size of my camera with the sizes of my fellow photographers' cameras, I just noticed my camera was so much smaller. It looked like a little toy, but the images I was getting out of it was just so nice. Getting into the overall experience of using this lens, I think that f4.5, it's not that bad. It's not the shallowest depth of field, but it's also not as closed as your other apertures like f5.6, f8. Those I would have preferred to use for street photography, but just using a fixed 4.5, it wasn't that bad. I was just dialing down my ISO and I was dialing up my shutter speed. We know dialing down ISO, that basically just brings your exposure down so things aren't as blown out. But dialing up shutter speed actually had two benefits for my street photography. One, it brought down the exposure so that things weren't blown out. But then two, because I was doing street photography, I was capturing people walking, I was capturing people doing things, it actually slowed down the motion. And so I was able to capture things in motion as they were going. And it just worked out really well. Now, as far as the autofocus on this lens, I think it was pretty snappy. I never really took too long to focus on a subject, is able to lock on pretty quickly, and there wasn't really a loud sound to the focus motors like with the Fuji 27mm f2.8. For the image quality, I thought the images coming out of this lens were pretty nice. They weren't washed out or anything. I thought the contrast was pretty nice on them. The color rendition was nice. Even though I was using Fuji recipes, I still thought the color rendition was nice. I don't think this lens really has a lot of character to it, if I'm just being honest, but I was getting some pretty nice clean images. Nothing looked out of whack, and so yeah, the image quality was pretty nice. And another thing I noticed with photos is that shooting directly into light or into the sun, I was able to achieve some sun stars. I'm not a big sun star guy, but just letting y'all know, you can get some sun stars with this lens. Now, when it comes to video, that's when I had to bring out the ND filter, because you have to be more strict with your shutter speeds when shooting video. If you're going for that 180-degree rule, you kind of have to keep your shutter speed fairly low, especially if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second. So you got to keep it fairly low. And so I put on the ND filter and I caught some video shots and I thought the video quality was pretty nice. Again, the focus motors are not loud. They're really quiet. So you don't have to run the risk of your camera picking up the focusing sound. And so I was able to lock onto my subjects. I was able to film some nice clips. And I think this worked out really well. Just know that if you're going to be shooting in daylight, you're gonna need to figure out how to put an ND filter on this lens. But I will say, I also took this camera to a concert in which I was able to get both low light photos and low light video. And I think it also performed well in that scenario as well. It's not the end all be all lens for video or photos, but it is very capable, especially at $99. I think this lens is gonna be my new EDC lens for the Fuji X-M5. And pairing this tiny lens with a camera as small and capable as the Fuji X-M5, I think we have reached peak compact Fuji. Now, this lens does retail for $99, which in my opinion is a steal. I will leave my affiliate link down in the description. I do get a small kickback if you purchase from it, but I will say, before Viltrox sent me this lens, I actually did end up purchasing it for myself. And so I think it is time for this channel's first giveaway. I'm gonna be giving away the copy of this lens that I purchased. It is open to US only for this first giveaway, but I might open up future giveaways to international in the future. And all you have to do in order to win this lens is follow me on Instagram. I'll put the link up on the screen and in the description, and comment under the post about this lens, just why you want this lens, which camera are you gonna put it on. It is for Fuji cameras only for this copy. In a week's time, I believe it will be April 11th, I will choose a winner and I will contact you via DM for your shipping info. So good luck, y'all. With that said, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. If you like this video, go ahead and drop it a like. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell to stay informed on any future content I have coming up. And until next time, y'all, I will catch y'all later.